Good day everyone. So in this video, we will discuss about the lease. So what is lease? Lease is a very common term that is used in dealing with land or property. So if a person is interested in renting out his flat or his property, then that person will opt for leasing it out. Surprisingly, people miss out on tribal aspects of lease deed and it causes a ruckus. It would be wise for a tenant and a landlord to be wary of the right and liabilities so that they can avoid any obstacle and can enjoy a seamless transition where a landlord protects his interest and the tenant gets to enjoy the property he rented. The term lease is defined under Section 105 of the Transfer of Property Act 1882 and it states that a lease of immovable property is a transfer of a right to enjoy such property made for a certain time, expressed or implied, or in perpetuity, in consideration of a price paid or promise, or of money, a share of crops, service, or any other thing of value, to be rendered periodically or on specific occasions to the transferor by the transferee, who accepts the transfer on such terms. So lease is a contractual agreement. Party owning an asset provide the asset for use to another, the right to use the asset or certain period of time. So, lessor and leasee is related to lease of immovable property. So, lessor is the transferor of the immovable property, while leasee is the transferee of the immovable property. Lessor is the owner of the asset, while leasee is the user of the asset, as we can see in the picture below.
Rights and obligation of a lessor. We already know who is a lessor. So, legally a lessor is granted certain rights and certain liabilities. Section 108A talks about the rights and liabilities of a lessor. So, let's further analyze the rights and liabilities of a lessor. So, let's discuss the right of a lessor. First, the right to accretion. If during the tenancy period or during the duration of the tenancy any further accretion, accumulation or addition is made in the property, then the lessor is entitled to such property. Such addition can be natural or by the expense of the lease, but after the termination of the tenancy period, the lease must deliver the title to the lessor. And the second is the right to collect rent. The lessor has the right to collect rent or any form of consideration as mentioned in the term and conditions of the contract from the tenant without any form of interruptions. So basically, a lessor shall be disclosed any apparent defect to the lessee and it is vital to disclose such defect as they interfere with the enjoyment of the property by the lessee. Next, obligation of a lessor. Number 1, duty of disclosure. The lessor is bound to disclose any form of a material defect in the property. There are two kinds of defects. First, latent defect. Latent defect cannot be discovered rationally or through inspection by the lessor. And second, apparent defect. Apparent defect can be discovered through some inspection. So basically, a lessor shall disclose any apparent defect to the lessee, and it is vital to disclose such defect as they interfere with the enjoyment of the property. Number 2, to give possession. The lessor must give possession of the property to the lessee on lessee's request. However, this liability only arises when there is a request on behalf of the lessee. Number 3, covenant for quiet enjoyment. The lessee has all the rights of enjoy the property. It is the duty of the lessor to not cause any form of interruptions. The lessor to not cause any form of interruption during the tenancy period. Rights and obligation of a lessee. Just like a lessor has also some rights and liabilities which are granted to him by the Transfer of Property Act. So now we will analyze the rights and liabilities of a lessee. Pag ang ikatulo, right to assign his interest. The lessee can sublease the property or the lessee can absolutely transfer his interest. However, if the lessee did restrict a lessee to assign his interest, then the lessee is prohibited to do so, and even after the transfer of his rights, the lessee is still subject to all the liabilities related to the lessee deed. Ang ikaapat kay right to have benefits of crops. When the lessee is of uncertain duration, then in that case, the lessee or her legal representative has been given the right to gain benefits from all the crops grown by them. Next, we have to discuss the obligation of the lessee. First, duty to disclose material facts. The lessee is bound to inform the lessor of any material facts which the lessee is aware of and the lessor is not. In case the lessee does not disclose such fact and the lessor suffer any loss then the lessee is bound to compensate the lessor. The second is duty to pay rent. The lessee is bound to pay the rent or the premium to the lessor or his agent in the proper time and proper place as decided by the lessee deed. In case the lessee fails to pay her rent, then in that case the lessor can eject the lessee on the ground of non-payment of rent or file a suit for arrears of rent. And the third is duty to maintain the property. The lessee is bound to maintain the property in a good condition as it was when he was given the possession of the property. The lessor or his agent are allowed to inspect the property at the reasonable ground. Only the changes caused by irresistible forces can act as an exception for this liability. Fourth is duty to give notice. If the lessee become aware that any person that has tried or is trying to damage the rights of the lessor or the title of the lessor is endangered, then in the case the lessee must give notice to the lessor. The fifth is duty to use the property in the reasonable manner. The lessee must use the property in a manner as if it was his or her own property. And the sixth is duty not to erect any permanent structure. A lessee cannot erect any payment structure except in the case of agriculture without the consent of the lessor. And the seventh is duty to restore possession. After the termination of the lessee must restore the possession of the property to the lessor. If the lessee does not vacate the premises even after the expiry of the notice, the lessee is then bound to pay the damage.
So next is the work and labor. So in this discussion, we will tackle the contract of labor, contract for a piece of work, and common carriers. A contract of labor is a legal contract that outlines the terms and conditions of employment. It is possible to get into contract labor agreements in order to finish a certain project and also give unemployed people who are looking for work transitional temporary jobs. Next is the contract for a piece of work. By the contract for a piece of work, the contractor binds himself to execute a piece of work for the employer in consideration of a certain price or compensation. The contractor may either employ only his labor or skill, or also furnish the material. According to Article 1714, if the contractor agrees to produce the work from material furnished by him, he shall deliver the thing produced to the employer and transfer dominion over the thing. This contract shall be governed by the following articles as well as by pertinent provisions on warranty of title against hidden defects and the payment of price in contract of sale. Lastly is common carriers. According to Article 732, common carriers are persons, corporations, firms, or associations engaged in the business of carrying or transporting passengers or goods or both by land, water, or air for compensation, offering their services to the public. Next, according to Article 1733, common carriers from the nature of their business and for reasons of public policy are bound to observe extraordinary diligence in the vigilance over the goods and for the safety of the passengers transported by them, according to all the circumstances of each case. That would be all. Thank you for listening. God bless.